The thing I feel we lacked in last year's brilliant season was some decent squad players. So we bring in a lot of them who rotate and obviously play quite a bit in the league. We bring in 2 centre backs in Clinton Corbin and Vasco Fonseca, a left wing back in Harry Amas, a right winger in Mats Dalgaard Hansen, and finally a new starting striker alongside Brambati, Ariel Alonso. We've also sold Ratchanat Chrysorn to Feyenoord for 15.75 million, moving up to 20 million. We apparently just skipped the second and third round of the qualies this year, which I guess is because we went so far last year. So we only needed to smash Astana in the playoff, which we did with a 13-0 win on aggregate.
Hey! Come on, man! That's too easy!
We've actually got our easiest league phase fixtures yet, I'd say. We've got Marseille, Braga, Standard Liège, Girona and Galatasaray as the teams I think we could beat quite easily. And then we have Bayern, Inter and Chelsea, which we obviously have a chance against, but they'll be quite a bit harder to beat. And by the way, we have a 3,000 to 1 odds of winning the UCL despite getting to the semis last year.
What?
The first 3 games we pick up 6 points. First, we lost 1-0 away to Marseille in a very dull game. We then deservedly won 3-1 against Girona as Amas got 1 and Alonso got a brace. The third game we won 3-1 once again, away to Braga. Brambati scored a tap-in and Naruto of all people got a brace. In the fourth league phase game at home to Inter, we conceded twice to Speedman Doku after 18 minutes. So it looked like a replay of the 3-0 loss at the San Siro from last year. But 5 minutes before the break, Claesson scored a bit of a lucky deflected goal to give us hope. And then, in the 66th, Alonso turned his man and scored with a very nice finish to equalize. Just 10 minutes later, we put together an incredible attack, which was finished off by Kissena to give us the lead. That would be the final result. An insane comeback against a very good Inter side. The 5th and 6th league phase games were a breeze. We won 4-1 at home to Galatasaray as Brambati scored a hat-trick. We then won 5-0 away to Standard Liège, where it was Alonso's turn to get a hat-trick, but Brambati got another 2 as well. At the halfway point in the league, we're obviously at the top of the table, but not by much. We've drawn 1 game and otherwise we've won all the other 14. Liria are also unbeaten actually, and that's why we only have a 6-point gap. As we've won 5 out of 6 league phase games in the UCL, we only need 1 point from our last 2 games against Chelsea and Bayern to secure top 8. We're at home to Chelsea now, and we take the lead after just 2 minutes through Cicero. Yanchev equalized it for Chelsea after a half hour had gone by. But we took the lead again just a few minutes later as Cicero scored again, but a header from a corner this time. In the 70th, we put together a nice attack which Alonso scored to give us a 2-goal lead. Yanchev scored his second for Chelsea 10 minutes before the end. But they didn't get an equalizer, so we win 3-2 against Chelsea and we secure top 8 for the first time ever.
I'm a genius!
After scoring 3 minutes into the last league phase game against Bayern, it looked like we'd get yet another win to close out the league phase. But Musiala had other plans. So we draw 1-1 away to Bayern, which means we get 2nd place in the league phase. And guess who we got in the round of 16? Bayern Munich. In the first leg, there were 2 highlights for the whole game. This half chance from a free kick and this decent chance for Whittle, who shot wide. So it's all square for the second leg in Kosovo. In the second leg, we took the lead through Claesson after a good attack in the 14th. Mastantuono then hit the post and bar with this long-range effort. But right before the break, we double our lead through Petrelli from a short corner variant. After an offside goal and big pressure from Bayern for the whole second half, we eventually concede as Mastantuono scores in the 78th minute. Musiala then equalizes it for the Bavarians in the 87th, but just 2 minutes later, Brambati scores this header to make it 3-2. And then, in pure FM fashion, Sascha Müller scores for Bayern in the 96th minute to send it to extra time. In extra time, it was an end-to-end affair. Brambati missed this, and and Bayern also missed a couple of good chances before they scored in the 111th. Brambati then scored in the 118th to equalize it, but we once again fuck it up in the dying embers. We concede in the 120th and the 122nd, so we lose 6-4 to Bayern and we're out of the Champions League after such a good league phase.
You don't know about it. It's like being stupid, it's only painful for others.
As for the league, we obviously win it, and we do so by 22 points as we win 29 out of 30 games. The 4 teams who show themselves as top teams in this save, Liria, Drita, Jelani and Balkani, get the 4 other European spots. The budgets for next season are just absolute madness. We've been given $1 million in wage budget and $55 million in transfer budget.
Tell them to bring me my money.
And finally, the coefficients. We've got 8 points this season, which means we're moving up another 3 places. We're up to 12th now, and we're now getting 2 Europa League spots and easier ways through the respective qualies. After a disappointing season in Europe, we spend a huge sum on especially one player. But first, we bring in 2 young promising centre-backs in Beto and Serhii Maiboroda. They'll be rotating with our starters when we have multiple games in a week. And then, the player we spend £26 million on, Romeo Says. He's an incredibly promising midfielder who will play a squad player role this season and then probably develop into a more and more important player for us. We've also sold 3 players. We've sold Franco Minerva, Isaac Torre and Vasco Fonseca.
Oh, so you want loyalty? Get yourself a dog.
The thing is, the player values are so low for us since we play in Kosovo. So I'm getting about a quarter of their actual value, and sometimes way less than that as well. We obviously breeze through the UCL qualies. We beat Shamrock Rovers 6-1 on aggregate, Tobel 14-0 on aggregate, and finally Sparta Prague 6-2 on aggregate. The fixtures are relatively easy, to be honest. We have Roma, Aston Villa, Fenerbahce and AC Milan at home, and Newcastle, Bayer Leverkusen, Celtic and Panathinaikos away. We could genuinely win all of them, so I'll be looking to get into the top 8 once again. And some other good news is that we finally have another Kosovan team in a European competition. Liria have qualified for the Europa League and Jelani have qualified for the Conference League. Admittedly, it didn't go too well in their league phase campaigns, but we finally have some progress from the other Kosovan teams.
Finally!
The first league phase game, we win 7-0 against Roma. Brambati got himself 4 goals to kick off the UCL campaign.
Oh fuck, I can't believe you've done this.
Away to Newcastle in the second league phase game, we took the lead after 32 minutes through Alonso. Right before the break though, Newcastle scored twice to take the lead. Says then came on in the 68th and delivered 3 corners, and we scored from all of them. Cicero scored first, then Ruth, and then the Ghost. So we win 4-2 after an incredible second half comeback. The next game against Aston Villa at home, we took the lead once again, this time through Brambati. Literally nothing happened until the 94th, when Villa's goalie came up for a corner. He actually got the final chance and headed it on target, but Mariani was there to save it, and also secure us our 3rd win out of 3 games. At home to Fenerbahce, we won very easily 3-0 as Alonso got a brace. The next game, however, was depressing. We lost 2-0 away to Bayer Leverkusen despite having more XG than them.
Touching you, sweet Caroline.
In the league, we've once again won all 15 games. We're in the lead of the league by 11 points down to Jelani in 2nd, and we look set for another perfect league season. The last 3 league phase games, we draw 1 and win 2. First, we draw 0-0 with AC Milan, and then we win very easily against Celtic and Panathinaikos. That means we get 4th in the final UCL league phase standings with 19 points. So we're through to the round of 16 directly. Before the round of 16 draw, we win the league with 6 games to go. We've continued the winning streak and have won all 24 games. In the round of 16 draw, we get Arsenal. I actually think that's the most difficult team we could have got, so that's just great. In the first leg, at the Emirates, Arsenal scored first through Chernov, who scored this horrific goal. Shortly after the break though, Claesson scored with a great finish to equalize it. Not much else happened, so we take a very good result back to Kosovo for the return leg. In the second leg, we took the lead after just 6 minutes in the aftermath of a corner. We then won the ball straight from kickoff, so Claesson scored again. And from here, it was a walk in the park. We scored once more in the 93rd with this great solo run from Alonso. So we smashed Arsenal 3-0 in the second leg and we're through to the quarters. Now, at this point, I got offered a Barcelona job, and I thought, what a very weird time to fire your manager. But then I saw that Barcelona got knocked out of the UCL by Saint Etienne of all teams. I obviously declined the job though.
I never knew you were this weird. Really? No, because you kept it. We worked together for a couple of days. I know. You're absolutely mental.
In the quarters, we've been run Inter. It's gonna be a difficult tie, but I really think we can make it through, you know. And in the semis, if we make it through obviously, we'll face either Saint Etienne or Juventus. I really think we've got a good chance of making the final this year. In the first leg against Inter, we took control from the off. After only 3 minutes, we put together a brilliant attack, which was eventually finished off by Alonso. Roughly 20 minutes later, Alonso got his second after this insane pass from Chavez to Claesson. Inter didn't really have any huge chances, so other than this penalty miss from Alonso to get his hat-trick, nothing really happened. So we take a 2-goal advantage with us to Italy. After 8 minutes of the second leg, Gordic gave away the ball to Nusa, who went up the pitch and eventually scored. Thankfully, in the 33rd, Alonso, Claesson and Brambati had some great link-up play to equalize it. And then, just like against Arsenal, we won the ball straight from kickoff. So Brambati got his second of the night and made it 4-1 on aggregate. Just 5 minutes after that again, Brambati scored again to get his hat-trick after an insane first touch. 2 minutes before the break though, FM showed us that it's still FM, as Doku scored. Literally nothing happened in the second half, so we win 3-2 in the second leg and 5-2 on aggregate. We're through to the semis again! In the semis we'll face Juventus, as they smashed Saint Etienne 4-0 in the second leg. I genuinely think we have a very good chance of beating them though, and make our first ever final. Just 15 minutes into the first leg, Alonso got injured and had to come off for Kisena. That's a big blow for us. But just 3 minutes after that, Juventus' goalie literally gave the ball to Brambati, who could just tap it into the completely open net. Valia then had a huge chance in the 42nd, but fortunately for us, he put it wide. Nothing else really happened to be honest, other than Seis getting his first goal for us in Europe. So we win 2-0 in the first leg, and we once again have a 2-goal advantage to take on our trip to Italy. Some sad news though is that Alonso's injury is quite bad. He'll be out for 3 to 5 weeks with a twisted ankle. He'll definitely miss the second leg of the semi-final, but he'll probably be ready for the final. If we get there, that is. 24 minutes into the second leg, Chavez played one of his insane passes through to Claesson, who scored. Shortly before the break, we doubled our lead as Kisena scored after a patient attack. 10 minutes into the second though, Juventus scored through Ouedraogo to give them some hope. In the 82nd, Ruggeri decided to score this banger. So now it's a game all of a sudden. But not for long, as Claesson scored straight from kickoff for us. It's not over yet though. Robertson scored for Juventus in the 91st, and again in the 93rd. But thankfully the ref blew his whistle shortly after, so we're through to the Champions League final. It's also come through that we'll face Bayern in the final, a team we've both beat and got beat by in the past, so it'll certainly be an interesting one. Before the final though, the league season was finished. We've won the league by 24 points as we once again win every single game. Ilani, Drita, Lapi and Balkani got the 4 other European spots, and I think next year could be a very good year in terms of the coefficients, since all the Kosovan teams have started developing nicely. Now, it's time for the UEFA Champions League final. According to the bookmakers, we're actually slight favourites. After only 6 minutes, Juve nearly scored an own goal, but Mariani was awake and managed to save it. In the whole first half, it was all Bayern. Esteves scored from a short free kick variant in the 13th, but fortunately it was offside. Lavia then hit the post with a long-range effort, before Sasha Muller made the inevitable happen, as he scored in the 37th. Right after the break, Musiala scored to double Bayern's lead. We had a huge chance to reduce the arrears roughly 15 minutes later, but Brambati shot straight at the goalie. He finally scored in the 93rd, but it's apparently offside. It probably would have been too late either way, but we would have had a chance at least. So it ends 2-0 and we lose the Champions League final to Bayern. We fall at the very last hurdle. But we will be back, I can assure you that.
This, today, is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time. I'm not in the mood to play with anybody.
A few days after the final, we got a couple of nice emails. Mariani had set a new record for amount of clean sheets in a UCL season, and Alonso had been named the Young Player of the Year in this year's Champions League, so that's at least something, I guess. The coefficients look pretty good. We've got 10.8 points this season, which means we're staying in 12th. But next season, or maybe the next one after that, we should be able to overtake both Norway and Austria, and make it into the top 10.
Okay, let's go.